Have you ever felt like the whole world was against you? Like no matter what you tried, doors kept closing, opportunities vanished, and everyone around you doubted your dreams? Well, imagine being that person, facing failure after failure, yet carrying a fire inside that refuses to die. This is the story of Jack Ma, the man who turned repeated rejections into the spark that built one of the most powerful companies on Earth. Born in 1964 in Hangzhou, China, Jack Ma grew up in a world where opportunities were scarce, the internet was non-existent, and connecting with the outside world seemed impossible. His family was humble. His parents were traditional musicians, living a simple life without wealth, power, or influence. Jack was small, weak, and not good at school. He struggled to pass exams, failing his middle school entrance exam twice and failing the university entrance exams multiple times. But failure didn't define him. His determination did. Jobs that seemed easy to others, like a position at KFC, were denied to him. Even the police said he was too weak. Yet, with each no, something inside him grew stronger. Jack Ma had one thing that no failure could take away: a dream and a voice that refused to stay silent. In 1995, a trip to the United States changed his life forever. As he explored this new country, a friend introduced him to something that seemed magical at the time: the Internet. He typed one simple word into a search engine: beer. Results poured in from Germany, America, Japan, but nothing from China. Confused, he typed China into the search. Empty. Nothing. No information about his own country was online. And in that moment, a light turned on in his mind. If no one was showing China to the world, why shouldn't I? That small, innocent search planted a seed that would grow into Alibaba. When he returned to China, Jack Ma, together with his wife and a friend, started a company called China Pages, an online directory. It failed. But Jack's spirit didn't. By 1999, sitting in his tiny apartment, he called 17 friends and shared a simple idea. Let's build a platform where Chinese businesses can sell their products to the world. Everyone laughed. Banks refused to give him money. Nobody believed in e-commerce. Nobody believed in Jack Ma. But those 17 friends believed in him, gave $60,000 from their own pockets, and joined a mission without offices, without resources, only with belief. And what should they call it? Alibaba. Jack Ma chose the name because everyone knows the story of Alibaba and the 40 thieves, and how the kind hero opens the treasure cave with the magical words, "Open Sesame." It was easy to spell, easy to remember, and it had a global meaning. Jack wanted his company to be the treasure chest for small businesses, opening doors for them to reach the world. Here's the incredible truth. Jack Ma didn't know how to code. He wasn't a software engineer. He couldn't even build websites. But he had something more powerful. He knew how to sell an idea, how to inspire a team, how to speak with a passion that lit fires in the hearts of others. "I'm not a tech guy," he said. "I look at technology through the eyes of my customers." Alibaba wasn't just a business. It was a mission to make it simple for small businesses to reach the global market. Jack Ma believed small businesses were heroes of the economy, but they were powerless without tools, visibility, or voice. He wanted to change that. In a world dominated by Amazon and eBay, people told him he was too late, that the internet already had leaders. But Jack smiled. E-commerce was not a fight between companies. It was a war of ideas, and his idea was for the people. The early days were hard. The office was tiny, the team worked around the clock, and money was tight. But they had a vision. They built a business-to-business platform where small Chinese factories could connect with buyers worldwide. They didn't charge fees, they offered it for free. Users came first. Slowly, the magic began. Have you ever faced a giant and wondered if you could survive? Imagine standing against a company worth billions, a brand that everyone respects, a force so powerful that most people would just give up. This was Jack Ma in 2002. Alibaba was growing slowly. Small Chinese businesses were joining the platform, and the dream was alive. But dreams alone cannot win battles. Money was the fuel, and for a long time, no one believed in Jack Ma. Banks looked at him, at the tiny website full of small factories, and said no. Investors said no. It looked impossible. But Jack didn't quit. He traveled the world, pitching the idea that small businesses deserved a platform to reach the world, that someone needed to fight for them. Finally, the breakthrough came. Goldman Sachs invested $5 million, and not long after, Masayoshi Son of SoftBank put in $20 million. Suddenly, Alibaba had oxygen. Suddenly, the dream had space to breathe. But money doesn't mean safety. It was just the calm before the storm. On the horizon, a global giant was watching. eBay, the Western powerhouse with millions of users, billions in sales, and the kind of technology money can buy. In 2002, eBay entered China, acquiring the largest Chinese auction platform, EachNet, and started growing fast. Rich, experienced, and confident, eBay seemed unstoppable. Experts whispered that Alibaba would be crushed. But Jack Ma didn't flinch. He knew eBay couldn't be beaten by imitation. He had to do the opposite. While eBay focused on auctions and profits, Jack focused on people and trust. He launched a new platform called Taobao, which means searching for treasure. This was no ordinary website. It was a place designed for Chinese people by Chinese people. eBay charged fees. Taobao was free. eBay looked like the global web, sterile and cold. Taobao was vibrant, colorful, full of emojis, images, and the feeling of a local market. eBay chased profits. Jack Ma built trust. And he did something revolutionary. He created a messaging system inside Taobao, allowing buyers and sellers to chat before purchasing. Suddenly, online shopping wasn't just clicking buttons. It was talking, asking questions, connecting. It felt real. Slowly, Chinese consumers fell in love with Taobao. eBay assumed dominance, but they didn't understand the local market. They thought size was enough. They didn't adapt. They didn't listen. Taobao kept evolving. Jack Ma focused on the heroes of his story, small businesses. He gave them tools, training, advice, and support. He often said, "Alibaba is not here to beat eBay. We are here to make small businesses succeed." Slowly, the tide began to turn. One of the biggest obstacles in China was fear. People were afraid to buy online. "What if I pay and don't get the product?" they asked. Jack saw this and created a system that would change everything. Alipay. This revolutionary payment service held the buyer's money until they confirmed delivery. Here's how it worked. The buyer sends money to Alipay, the seller ships the product, and only when the buyer confirms they received it does Alipay release the payment. Suddenly, trust was built. Fear vanished. Confidence was born. But here's the daring part. At the time, there were no laws for such a financial system in China. People asked Jack if he wasn't worried about breaking rules. He smiled and said, "If someone has to break the rules to serve the people, let it be me." That was the fire driving him, a fire that refused to be extinguished. While Taobao grew rapidly, eBay made a critical mistake. They didn't understand culture, they didn't listen to users, and they underestimated the power of community. Meanwhile, Jack continued innovating, focusing on the smallest sellers, giving them the tools to survive, to grow, to compete, and to dream bigger. Slowly, the giant began to stumble. eBay was powerful but rigid. Taobao was agile, vibrant, and human. Have you ever seen a giant fall? Not because it was weak, but because it forgot the people it was supposed to serve? That's exactly what happened in China with eBay. They moved their operations thousands of miles away to the U.S., trying to control everything from afar. They ignored local culture, local needs, and local users. Chinese sellers felt neglected. Buyers felt disconnected. Customer service failed. And in Hangzhou, Jack Ma and his team worked tirelessly, day and night, building a platform that was faster, smarter, and truly Chinese. By 2006, the battle was over. eBay, the global giant, had been defeated. Taobao controlled 80% of the market. eBay retreated, shutting down its local site and became almost invisible in China. Jack Ma and a small team of believers, without prior experience, without outside power, without riches, had taken down a multi-billion-dollar company. The world began to notice. But here's the secret. Alibaba didn't win because of superior technology. It won because it understood people. Jack Ma had a principle that guided every decision: customers first, employees second, investors third. While others chased profits, Jack chased trust. While others looked global, he looked local. While others followed strategies, he followed heart. And his vision didn't stop at winning a market. He wanted something far bigger. One day, Jack stood in front of his team and said something almost unbelievable. "We will build a company that lives for 102 years." The room was silent. Some laughed. Some thought he was joking. But Jack explained. Alibaba started in 1999, and if it lasted until 2011, it would span 3 different centuries. That was the goal. A company not just for quick profit, but for purpose, for legacy, for people. Jack wasn't just creating Alibaba.com. He was building an empire, a full system that connected the world. 1. Alibaba.com, the B2B platform linking factories and businesses globally. 2. Taobao, the C2C platform, people selling to people, better than eBay for Chinese users. 3. Tmall, a B2C platform where premium brands could sell directly to customers. 4. Alipay, a digital wallet and payment system, fast, secure, trusted. 5. Cainiao, a logistics network solving delivery problems across China. 6. Alibaba Cloud, the computing brain powering all operations. Jack wasn't building apps, he was building an entire ecosystem where buying, selling, paying, shipping, and growing a business could happen seamlessly, all in one place. It was like Amazon plus PayPal plus Google Cloud plus FedEx rolled into one. But Jack never called Alibaba a tech company. "We are a company for people," he often said. Then came the mobile revolution. In the early 2000s, smartphones exploded across China. Suddenly, people were shopping on their phones. Alibaba was designed for desktops. Many companies failed to adapt and disappeared. Jack Ma and his team had to make a fast decision. pivot to mobile, or risk dying. They bet everything. They redesigned the apps, simplified payments, created mobile promotions, and trained sellers to use these new tools. The gamble worked. Farmers in small towns, students, elderly users, everyone could now carry Alibaba in their pockets. This shift helped Alibaba reach over 800 million users in China alone. But Jack's vision didn't stop at domestic success. He wanted the world to know Alibaba. In 2014, Alibaba went public. Not in China, not in Hong Kong, but on the global stage, New York City. The New York Stock Exchange was alive with anticipation. Times Square screens displayed the Alibaba logo. Reporters, investors, CEOs, all eyes were on Jack Ma and his team. And then it happened. Alibaba raised $25 billion in a single day. It wasn't just a record, it was the largest IPO in history, surpassing Google and Facebook. The message was clear. A company born from a tiny apartment in Hangzhou, built by people who believed in a dream, could conquer the world. Jack Ma had proven that vision, trust, and relentless belief were more powerful than money, technology, or brand alone. Have you ever been at the very top and felt the ground shake beneath you? Imagine building an empire, reaching heights that most people only dream of, only to face storms that no amount of money or power can control. This was Jack Ma after Alibaba's record-breaking IPO in 2014. The company was now worth over $230 billion, bigger than Amazon, and Jack Ma, the former English teacher who had been rejected by KFC, was one of the richest people in the world. But wealth alone was never Jack's measure of success. After the IPO, he gave a speech that captured hearts worldwide. "Today is not the success of Alibaba," he said. "Today is the success of all the small businesses who believed in us." He thanked his team, the users, even those who had rejected him in the past, because their no's had given him strength. He didn't speak about money. He spoke about mission, about purpose, about the people. The IPO wasn't just a financial milestone. It was a statement. It proved that a Chinese company could compete globally and that helping ordinary people could create extraordinary results. Millions of small businesses were inspired. Farmers began selling apples online. Young women started selling handmade crafts. Retired teachers offered online classes. Alibaba became more than a company. It became a movement, a platform where ordinary people could achieve the extraordinary. But just as Alibaba reached the sky, the winds began to shift. By the late 2000s, Alibaba was no longer just a company. It had become a system. A bank through Alipay, a shopping empire through Taobao and Tmall, a logistics network through Cainiao, a cloud computing powerhouse, and even a media influencer. The Chinese government began paying attention. A company this big, this independent, this influential, it was starting to exceed boundaries that the state considered safe. In October 2020, Jack Ma gave a bold speech in Shanghai. Standing in front of hundreds of business leaders, bankers, and investors, he openly criticized China's financial system. "China's banks still operate like pawn shops," he said. "The future should not depend on collateral. It should depend on innovation." Gasps filled the room. Jack was challenging the very structure of the economy. He pointed out outdated regulations and boldly proclaimed that systems like Alibaba's fintech platform were the future. The speech created shockwaves. Alipay, now part of a massive financial company called Ant Group, was preparing for an IPO expected to raise $34.5 billion, bigger than Alibaba's own IPO. But just 2 days before the launch, the Chinese government intervened. The IPO was halted. Billions of dollars froze in an instant. Investors were stunned, and Jack Ma disappeared. For months, he did not appear in public. He did not speak. He did not post. Rumors swirled. Had he been arrested? Silenced? Under house arrest? The truth was simpler yet more profound. He had been warned. In China, speaking too loudly, too boldly, or too freely comes at a cost. Following the IPO cancellation, the government launched antitrust investigations against Alibaba, accusing it of monopolistic practices, unfair competition, and controlling too much of the market. In April 2021, Alibaba was fined $2.8 billion, the largest penalty in Chinese tech history. The message was clear: even giants must follow the rules. In response, Alibaba began a major transformation. First, regulatory alignment. They worked closely with government officials to show cooperation and compliance. Second, business decentralization. The company started splitting into divisions for cloud computing, e-commerce, local services, logistics, and digital media to reduce risk. Third, Jack Ma stepped back. Slowly, he removed himself from leadership roles, limited public appearances, and focused on new projects: philanthropy, education for rural teachers, and quietly mentoring the next generation. Alibaba's stock dipped. Investors worried. Many asked, "Is this the end of Alibaba?" But the answer was no. Have you ever wondered what it means to step back at the very moment the world is watching? Imagine building the biggest empire in your country, one that touches hundreds of millions of lives, and then choosing silence over spotlight. This was Jack Ma after the storms of 2020 and 2021. Alibaba had faced fines, government pressure, and public scrutiny. But Jack knew something important. Winter never lasts forever. He shifted his focus quietly, turning his energy to education in rural villages, helping teachers, supporting small startups in agriculture, and mentoring the next generation of entrepreneurs. He traveled across Europe, Japan, and Asia, avoiding headlines, interviews, and flashy speeches. He let Alibaba evolve without him at the front. It was not weakness, it was wisdom. Under his guidance, Alibaba became more resilient, more transparent, and better structured for the challenges of the new era. The company was reorganized into multiple divisions, each with independence and responsibility. Taobao and Tmall continued as the core online shopping platforms in China, serving over 800 million users, focusing on speed, price, and quality for local consumers. Alibaba Cloud became a powerhouse of AI, big data, and cloud computing, competing with global giants like Amazon Web Services, supporting everything from hospitals to traffic systems, and even helping China fight COVID-19. Kenyao focused on logistics, optimizing warehousing, delivery, and supply chains, processing billions of packages each year, and aiming to become the FedEx of the East. Alibaba's global digital commerce units, AliExpress, Lazada, Daraz, Trendyol, expanded into Europe, Southeast Asia, and South Asia, investing in local platforms, building warehouses, adapting to local cultures, and putting mobile-first shopping at the center. Each division could innovate, fail fast, and try again. Ant Group, the fintech arm, continued offering Alipay, loans, insurance, and investment tools. now under stricter regulation but still serving millions safely and efficiently. The digital media division, Youku, video streaming, music, and gaming, grew to compete with global platforms like TikTok and Tencent Video. Jack Ma understood a critical lesson. Winning globally isn't about pushing China everywhere. It's about understanding each country and empowering local communities. Alibaba didn't just export goods, it invested in local people, local logistics, and local trust. While most observers focused on shopping platforms, the real engine behind everything was Alibaba Cloud, the invisible backbone supporting commerce, finance, logistics, healthcare, AI, and smart cities. And behind this empire, Jack Ma kept teaching one essential principle: perseverance. Today is difficult, tomorrow is more difficult, but the day after tomorrow is beautiful, he often reminded his team. Most people give up tomorrow night, he said, but if you hold on till the day after tomorrow, you win. It was not just advice for business. It was a philosophy for life. With this vision, Alibaba slowed down, simplified, and listened. They no longer sought only growth. They sought to serve, to empower, to create impact. And the results were extraordinary. The company became stronger, more focused, and more innovative, proving that even after pressure, fines, and scrutiny, purpose-driven organizations could survive and thrive. Jack Ma's legacy is not measured only in billions of dollars or global rankings. It is measured in the millions of small businesses lifted from obscurity to prosperity, in farmers selling apples online, young women building brands, retired teachers sharing knowledge, and entire communities finding opportunity through Alibaba's platforms. It is measured in resilience, humility, and the courage to step back when needed, trusting that your systems, people, and vision will continue to grow. Jack Ma once said, "Globalization should not be one way.